And we are live. Thank you to everybody who is joining us on the live stream today. I am excited to have these two wonderful authors with me today, and they are going to teach us how to put together an anthology. So I'm going to let them quickly introduce themselves. They can say what kind of genres they write, briefly anything about their writing history that they want to share, and then I will introduce myself for anybody that's new here on my channel. So, Carolyn, would you like to start?
Sure. Hi, I'm Carolyn Young. Pleased to meet you. This is like the second live stream, so I'm a little awkward. So you'll get to see the real me. I'm a prolific speculative fiction author. My pen name is MC Levitt. I've been publishing for a couple of years now under that. I just debuted as myself because I'm trying romance. Everybody needs a good romance. So, you know, I figured I'd kind of join in. And I helped with an anthology. I'm in another anthology, and I've applied to 2 other anthologies. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Patricia?
I'm Patricia Bates. I started off as a historical romance author and kind of branched out. I don't think there's a genre other than horror that I don't write in. So
That's why we're friends.
Yeah, I have a blast with it. If it strikes my interest, I love to write it. This is the 3rd anthology that I've been in. The first one that I have been had a really key part in putting together.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a group of writers, the Romantics Critique Group, which is an amazing group of ladies who share knowledge. We critique each other's work. We offer support. And I currently am working on 9 other projects on the go.
Yeah, you've got a little bit on your plate. I remember talking about it with you. So just a little shout out. Both of these wonderful ladies actually also make book covers, and they're very versatile creators. So they're not just writers. They really do it all, which probably helped going into the anthology because you all could kind of add to the pool. Yeah. So for anybody who is new here on my channel, I am Kammi, and this is Flash University for Authors because I got tired of paying so much money for these workshops and then feeling disappointed and feeling like I wasted my time. And I got tired of scouring the internet for great writing advice and coming up empty-handed or coming up with garbage advice. I got sick of it. And so I started this channel for authors so that they could find quality writing advice and so that they could get help on whatever their projects are and not have to weed through garbage advice to find the good stuff and not have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for workshops when you're paying overhead and travel expenses and you're paying for the workshops you didn't go for, and just bag it. Get the good advice. And I have 10-minute tips, and I also have workshops, and then I am creating my own course for people who want to really dive deep into beginning creative writing. That will be soon. I will be putting that out soon. But for now, all you need is what I have available for you here on my channel, and I will keep finding the best stuff for you guys because that's why I do this. I love it. I have been writing since I was 11. I discovered Emily Dickinson and Edgar Allan Poe, and I said, what? I can write about my life like this? And so, yes, so I'm heavily influenced by some of the classics, but I'm also heavily influenced by a lot of modern works, and so there's weird blend in my writing. But I write anything from narrative lyric poetry to flash fiction to right now I'm working on my debut novel. So that's me as a writer.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and not waste any time. Let's just jump right into this. I like to really use my time wisely here. So let's start on the very beginning of when you're creating an anthology. Where does this all start? I assume it starts with finding other authors that want to give something to the anthology. Where do you find quality writers that you want to actually collaborate with? And then how do you weed through the submissions that you have? Things like that. Like, what does the process look like with finding all the other authors to go into the anthology?
Carolyn, do you want to field this one?
Yeah, I've had the honor of working with some people who do other anthologies. In LDS Beta Readers, I have taken part in 2 anthologies. I'm in one, but then a life emergency happened to one of the women running it. So what happened was in LDS Beta Readers, they put feelers out of, we're doing an anthology, this is the theme, if you're interested, let us know. They gave dates, have the first draft done by this date, and then put it up for beta readers. So we put our files up in the group, and we got our short stories beta read and feedback, and then you turned it in. And there are, I think there were 2 rounds with this one. And they had, one of the women was an editor.
Oh, that's
so the stories were about 1,000 words, really, really short. So they went through and they read it. And either you passed or you failed the quality check. I passed, and they gave me feedback, editing feedback. So I got even better feedback on top of great feedback. And then I applied it. I did some revisions. I went through 3 more beta readers. And then a month later, I resubmitted and I passed that group. I was in. They had just a couple more tweaks for me to make, and it was good. So that was my experience with them. In another group, it was for fantasy. And these people are incredible. And the story was supposed to be 10,000 words, but my story, when I gave it to betas and tried to trim it down, every single one, I want more. This is not enough. There has to be more. So I actually wasn't able to submit because now it's a 35,000 word story that I'll be publishing next year.
Oh, wow.
But they also do the quality checks. So you have rounds that you have to submit and work through. And they have a panel of judges. And most of them are volunteers, other readers who are not taking part in the anthology. And they sit and they go through and they, I think it's kind of like with the Olympics where they have numbers and things. So they check 1 to 5. Where is it with grammar, punctuation, the story, developmental editing? Does it need to go deeper? Things like that. So that's my experience.
Is this legitimate paperwork that they filled out 1 through 5 on?
Like, in one of the anthologies, I've actually talked to 2 other groups about doing one. People wanted to put on one. And so, yeah, somebody actually came up with a checklist that you had to pass the quality. And so that it was fair across the board. But the anthology in this group was totally different. And Patricia, you're right.
Yeah, our feedback, our method was very closed in. This anthology was actually put together specifically through our critique group. So we put out to see who would be interested in participating. We had a meeting and we said, hey, this is what's going to happen. We put forth the idea, went into detail about what everyone's role was going to be. And I was originally thinking, we might have 3 or 4 people that were interested, but we wound up with actually 6 out of the 8 ladies that are in the group that participated in this. Our stories in this anthology are, they're not short stories. These are novellas. They range anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000 K. Yeah. So we kind of blew the methodology a little out of the water because some of us are word hogs. But
Carolyn, I see that hand. I see yours too.
But it was a process. Like we sat down and we went, "This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is the time frame." Pardon me?
Is somebody's computer going off right now? I hear some feedback. I hear
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Okay, hopefully that's just me hearing that. Hopefully nobody else is hearing that.
I hear it too. It comes and goes.
Yeah. it's very minimal on my end, so I'm not sure.
Okay, interesting. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, so it was the idea was put forward by one person, and then the group we come together and we decided let's do it, and and then as a group we just jumped into it full bore and went crazy with it. But in the past, when I've taken part in anthologies, it's been you write the story, you submit to it, then you get review. You can either get accepted or you don't. I've done one anthology where they actually gave feedback and said, no, it doesn't fit with this theme because of this reason. Because I'm really bad at writing to themes, apparently. So yeah, but that's one of the things, and we did because it was a group effort. We all came together 2-3 times a week, and we would do critiques, and we were doing feedback, and we were doing quality control, and we were doing everything in group, which made it a little bit different than anthologies that are advertised outside in other groups. Because it was specific to our group. But Carolyn nailed it right on the head. And most of the time a call goes out, they say, this is the parameters, give us your best story and we'll let you know. And then they go through there, and it's like a regular traditional publishing submission process where you submit, you either get accepted or you don't. And if you do, then you've got edits and work and that sort of thing. And then you go from there. Yeah.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is that it depends on whether it's an intimate anthology or whether it's a broadcasted anthology. And
yes.
if it is an intimate anthology, then basically how you go about it is your own decision within the group, and you are all basically treated as peers with equal say, I'm assuming. And then if it is a broadcast, I'm sorry, I'm signing like it's helping you understand me better. It's a bit cool, you guys, I promise. I'm like a general, like general public, you know what that means. Sorry, guys, it's so habit to me. Anyway, so if it is a general anthology that's going out to tons of people, then there are parameters essentially that you go through, and you have to go through certain stages. You meet this stage, you don't meet that stage, that sort of a thing. So there's hoops to jump through until you're fully accepted finally for the final anthology, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
I think the name is Ciara Lake. I cannot see without my glasses either. She said that she had so much fun doing it, and then she also said that she's hearing an echo. Are you currently hearing the echo, and who do you hear it when they speak? Is it when I speak or what? Please let me know, so if there's a sound issue, we can fix it now instead of later.
Yes.
And also there is a delay in the comments when it's streamed through StreamYard. So it'll take me just a second to get that feedback from you. I would love for you to tell me if it's my voice. But for now, let's go ahead and move on. That is a wonderful summary of how it works. So I know you guys briefly touched on this already, but how does the editing process work with anthologies? I'm assuming this also varies based on if this is a general anthology versus a tight-knit, a small community anthology.
Yes. For the broader scope, Carolyn, I'm going to actually give that to you because when honestly, my experience with anthologies in the broader sense is through publishing houses and through traditional houses. It's a little bit different than if it's if it's from a group on Facebook within that, because they have their own way of doing things. So I'll let Carolyn answer that question, and then I will pitch in and give some feedback.
Okay, so all of us are echoing, so that's really weird. There must be an issue either with the live stream or with Ciara's something about her feedback personally. So if anybody else is experiencing strange feedback, let me know. That way I know that it's definitely the stream. Patricia speaks and you can hear it. Okay, thank you, Leanna. So we're just gonna go ahead. I hope that's okay with you guys. We'll just do the best we can and pretend like there's not a problem until we hear from you guys otherwise.
I think I have an idea of why the issue is on my end. I am in a larger room with a microphone that's like right in front of me, and I don't have my filter on my microphone because my cat got it. So that could be why part of the echo is happening. And I apologize. I have another one on order, but unfortunately, it's just not here yet.
You gotta love technology.
And fur babies.
It was good and then started. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll get good again. I don't even know, but I can edit this after the fact and repost this, and I can like cut out all of our conversation about the sound. It's kind of fun like that. So if you guys want to be able to do a playback without the sound issues, let me know, and I will just fix the audio in my editing software and then just re-upload it for you guys. For now, let's move on. Carolyn, editing.
I'm going to pretend like I know. For the broader general groups, like I said, we were lucky because there was like someone who edited who was going through the rounds, and some of the beta readers were also editors. So for those bigger groups, I'm not quite sure how their editing goes. I've heard that some use software like Pro Writing Aid to catch passive voice, to catch some basic grammatical errors and things, and then they just flag it and highlight it and let you know, can you tweak this? Or, you know, some people already know their punctuation and go through and just fix all that. So I'm not sure how it goes with the big groups. I'll have to ask the people who run them.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I can definitely speak to Pro Writing Aid catching the passive voice, because, you know, I'm never guilty of that ever. Okay, fine. I have a major problem with passive voice. You caught me. I have such a major problem. Yeah. So it catches me all the time. But yeah, those editing softwares are fantastic and they catch so much, but they're also not perfect. And so I've had a lot of editors be like, don't let that be the only way you edit your project. Please don't let that be the only way you edit. So they're definitely not a catch-all, but they are a great start. The Chicago Manual of Style. Oh, look at you.
Every fiction writer should have this. This is our Bible.
Okay, guilty.
It really is. Oh yeah, totally. And we take advantage that Carolyn actually has a copy of it. We take advantage quite often. And some of the time, you know, with these programs that are out there, they're amazing, but having like a live set of eyes can pick out things that they will miss. We have an amazing group of ladies that we work with in our critique group, and when it came time to edits, boy, oh boy, did we learn the ins and outs of working together and really see where our strengths and our weaknesses are. Our edits were done 2 to 3 times a week, and they were done live. So what we did is we would have a Zoom meeting, and we would pick 2 people that night, and that we would do 1 hour for one person, 1 hour for another person. And we tried to do 2 hours, but sometimes they went a little bit longer than that, depending. But we would literally go line by line by line, and we would sit there and we would go in depth and we would go conversation. You know, this doesn't work. This is, you know, I'm not relating to this character. I'm not understanding what you're trying to say here. This isn't right. This is passive. This is, you've got present tense and a past tense sentence. You've got shallow writing. You've got, you know, so it was very in-depth, very detailed editing. And I think that's huge. It's a huge bonus for us because we actually got a chance to see and really learn from how we were doing our writing and what we wanted our writing to look like in the end. And shout out to all of our ladies. You guys rock. And you guys did a really amazing job on these projects.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I feel like teaching is also one of the best teachers.
Yep.
And so as you're actually going through talking to other people about here's this mistake and that mistake, and then you look at your own work, you start noticing those same mistakes in your own work, and it makes it easier then to pick it out the next time. I love collaborative work where everybody's getting together and everybody jumps in and gives feedback on every single story. Those are my favorites because I feel like those are the ones where you really just grow exponentially, all of you as a writer, when you get together that way.
Yeah. And we had one author in our group, and when it came to editing, I mean, what she did was absolutely amazing with the feedback that she was given. She rewrote her book from start to finish. I mean, literally took the advice that was given from the members of the group, the feedback that she received, took that and rewrote her entire book.
Wow.
Because of just that, because of that close-knit chance to just kind of ask questions and get feedback. And when you have 6 people sitting at a table and 5 of them are giving you feedback, and they're saying, 5 of them are saying, you need to tweak this or you need to tweak that, and everybody's in agreement, it really does help bring home that sense of, okay, let's do this. This is how we need to change. This is how we need to adapt it, how we need to edit it to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there are 2 potential pitfalls here. One would be in the giving of the feedback, and the other one would be in the receiving of the feedback. So if you're in a tight-knit group and you guys have decided to collaborate, when you give feedback, and I'm sure you ladies can attest to this, you have to make sure that it is constructive. So what is the point of your feedback? Is it because if they tweak this, it will make it better? Or are you just telling them something sucks, or you don't like something, or they're a horrible writer? If it is negative and there is nothing to build from, then it should not be said. If they can take that piece and then make their writing better, then you should absolutely say it very nicely. Very nicely. Just noticing with the hearing culture here in America, there's something called the sandwich method.
Yep.
And essentially what you do is you sandwich your negative or your constructive feedback rather with 2 compliments on either side. So this worked out really well. I recommend that you fix this. This was really great too. So that when you package that like that, it makes them feel good. Now, if they're part of a different culture, that may not be necessary, or you might have to be more careful, just depending on what culture someone is from. With the deaf community, they tend to be really, really, really blunt, really blunt, and it's hilarious, and I love every second of it. Donald Trump's derogatory sign was something about his toupee, and anyway, they're so funny. They're funny, but they're really, really direct, and so you have to a little bit know the culture of the person and just make sure you're being careful. Otherwise, because there's, especially if it's a big anthology that's been broadcasted everywhere, you may not have that intimacy to know what their culture is. So try and just be very careful. And then the other pitfall would be receiving it. And so when I studied interpreting and I was interpreting for a while, one of the things that we talked about was how to receive feedback. And the thing is that sometimes feedback just sucks, no matter how good the feedback is and no matter how well-intentioned, it sucks to get it sometimes. And it's hard to see how your work can improve. So if a feedback is painful, or if there's an issue with it, maybe it wasn't given very constructively, you take a step back. Leave it for a few days. Don't take the feedback. Don't leave the feedback. Don't do anything with the feedback. Go away, do a different project, spend time with your kids. I don't know, pet your dog for a few days. I don't know what else you do in your lives, but do something, and then come back and look at it again with that feedback in mind. And then you're able to sort of have a different perspective and almost clarity. And you can't ever fully see your own work with new eyes, but essentially you're able to see it with fresh eyes, at least to an extent. And then you can know, what, this feedback isn't exactly right, but it fits what but it fits a problem. It speaks to a problem, even though it's not exactly right. They found a problem. They just didn't figure out what the actual problem it was. I was able to diagnose it through that comment. I don't know if that makes sense to you ladies, but I've had that before.
Yeah. And we've encountered that, haven't we, Carolyn, where there's been feedback that we've kind of given that maybe wasn't very well received, and then it's like, okay, well, how could I have maybe put that a little bit better, or maybe not as blunt? But I think over the last 10 months that we've been a group, we've kind of learned how to read each other. But again, our anthology is a very intimate anthology. It's only in the group. And others that are larger do things differently. So it really is, and there's a difference too in having that live feedback as opposed to a writing feedback. You know, it's very, it's almost impersonal when you get feedback from your editor and it's just written on the page and there's not a chance to kind of have that conversation. Whereas within our group, you know, and we've done that where we've posted chapters and we leave them up and we go in and we tweak and we look and we make comments and suggestions, but there's always that option to say, hey, Carolyn, can you jump on Zoom with me for 10 minutes and go over this really quick? Because I need you to answer this question for me. It's really bugging me. But you want to make sure that you're doing it you're pointing out things in a professional manner that is constructive. I think that's a huge part of it, and we have an amazing group that does that. Carolyn?
Yeah, I think Carolyn's over there laughing at me because I just commented on the chat.
Well, if I can jump in, what you said, Kammi, was amazing about stepping aside. My comprehension is different. My brain works differently. So when I get feedback, I don't always understand it. But with the live critiques, they talk it through. Like Randy was like, she comes in and she goes, oh my gosh, you can make this a suspense. I mean, you've already got a dead body. I mean, come on, let's make this woman psychotic. I can help you make her psycho. And she talked me through it. She walked me through she explained. Sometimes you have to explain things like the same thing in a different way until it clicks with me. That is just the beauty of the live critiques, is they sit there and they explain to me, and it's not like, oh, well, this just needs to be changed. Okay, what's wrong with it? How does it need to be changed? How do I fix it? What are you looking for? They don't say this needs to be changed. They're like, oh, I really like this. This could be stronger. This is what you could do. You want to do something really crazy right here? I got an idea for you. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So, I mean, live critiques are absolutely the way to go.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be interesting with it when it starts that way, right?
Yes.
You're about to say something, aren't you? I don't know if I'm going to love it or hate it. So Leanna says this rule works as well. I think she meant this rule works as well. If 3 or more people say it, then look into it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because anytime you get into creative work, it is always subjective. And beauty is definitely in the eye of the beholder if we're taking a whole bunch of odd sayings and throwing them together. But somebody might catch your vision of what you're doing and know exactly how to fix it, and somebody might not. Or I've heard people say that they've submitted things to an editor, to 2 different agents, and had the exact opposite feedback from them. This pacing is too slow. This pacing is too fast. So it really depends on what the specialty is and what their preferences are and style and voice and all of that. So it really is just subjective. So yeah, absolutely. If 3 people are saying it, there's an issue. But even if one person is saying it, like I said, it may not be the problem, but it might speak to what the problem is. If you just let it simmer for a day or 2. What's with me and my weird metaphors today? I don't know. I feel like I'm throwing out weird metaphors. I'm like mixing metaphors and doing whatever, guys. I'm good at Englishing. I've got this. Okay. I think we have exhausted editing. Really though, I think a lot of the times you're really gonna want a professional editor, either a professional editor in your group with you or to hire a professional editor, especially the longer the stories get, because you start to just sort of, your eyes just sort of don't see what's there anymore. They gloss over or whatever. So you're going to want a professional to kind of go through it for you. Yeah, it's gonna set you apart from amateurs and put you in the professional realm if you're very careful with the editing. So I know a lot of people will DNF a book, or they'll stop reading a book if the editing is poor. So if they're missing sentence periods, punctuation, and things like that, I'm kind of like that a little bit. I'm a period snob. If there are not periods in my book, dang it, I put it down. I don't care how cool the characters are. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a Nazi with grammar.
That's okay.
So let's talk about contracts and royalties, because I know this could be a touchy subject for people. And I've had friends that have done anthologies and group projects, and it has been a royal, no pun intended, but fully appreciated, a royal nightmare for them. As far as everybody being able to agree on things, and then when somebody wasn't selected for the anthology, they pitched a fit and it was a major issue. So what do you do then with the contracts and the royalties? And I know, Patricia, you had something specific you were saying before the live stream.
Well, what we did as a group, because that was one of the thoughts that as we were working on this, was we wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. So what we did is we actually took a publishing contract that I had used a number of years ago when I had my own publishing house, and we revised it specifically for the group for this anthology. Mm-hmm. And it covers everything from the ground up. Like, I mean, this is a 6-page document that everyone had to read. They had to sign and agree to. It covered cover art, it covered edits, it covered royalties. Everything was in black and white. And we actually took the time to go through page by page by page as a group and read through it so that everyone that had signed it understood exactly what they were signing. So that we knew what was going to happen with the royalties. We knew what was going to be, what the term of the contract was, what they could do, what they couldn't do, if there was an issue, how to resolve it. And I think that's huge, because too many times, and I've seen this and it gives me nightmares, is people get into these into anthologies or into group projects, and they don't take the time to do up an agreement, a contract, where everything is laid out in black and white, and then they find that they have signed away the rights, or they've given up the rights to their book, or they've given up this or that, or they haven't given consent to another author to use a character in their project, and it's not in black and white, and then it becomes a matter of legal nightmare. And so when you're doing an anthology, whether it's an intimate one like ours, whether it's one that's in a group, whether it's one through a publisher, it doesn't matter. In my humble opinion, a contract is the only way to go, that outlines exactly what rights you have, what copyright is, what your royalty rates are going to be, or if you're not going to get paid in royalties, what are those royalties being used for, so that there is no confusion. You can't, you don't have an author that 6 months down the road is going to come back and say, well, I haven't been paid for my book. I want to get paid. If you don't pay me, I'm going to sue you. This is a really important part of it, because you need to have that so that you don't have those issues. Because an anthology, you're literally putting together a group of writers in one work, and you're dealing with however many people are in that anthology's personalities, their thought process, their culture, all of that. So, in my humble opinion, a contract is the only way to go.
So I really agree with you. I think that it protects you. And I do have a question for you as far as royalties are concerned. Is it pretty standard with an anthology to then split the royalties one part for each story?
Typically, the way it works is when you are dealing with an anthology, in my experience, now other people's experiences may be different, but in my experiences through the publishing house, what happens is we get a certain amount of the books. So for example, say the book sells for a certain amount of money, the authors get a certain percentage of those royalties, and that amount that is set aside for the authors is divided equally among the people that are in the anthology. So if there's 6 people, it's split 6 ways. In our anthology, what we did is we came to an agreement amongst all of us that for the term of the contract, all royalties would be kept for the anthology, would be kept for expenses for promotion and ads and all those things for our group, for the, now there are other options. There are other ways of doing it. Carolyn, I know, has said a couple of times about a different way of doing it. So I'm going to let Carolyn answer that from her experience.
Thanks. First of all, in the LDS Beta Readers Anthology I'm in, I don't get paid. And I knew that up front. It was all monies will go toward promoting, marketing, all that stuff. You won't see a cent. You won't get a statement. And I'm like, I'm totally okay with that. This is just another route of getting my name out there with all these amazing writers. So for me, for the anthology, samesies. I mean, this was my chance to debut, and I'm leaving my book in the anthology, and that's where you'll find it. It won't be available anywhere else. There is a program, a platform, where you hook it up to, say, like Amazon, and Amazon takes their cut out, and then what it does is it divides it evenly and pays everybody the money in your bank account. When it's presented to the IRS, you get your W-2 or whatever. You fill out that information. That's for you and only you. And then that also gives you the opportunity and the capability to keep up with sales and how it's doing, everything. So
each author would have their own little section like that, right? Where they get paid.
Oh, you have to sign up for it and hook your bank account. Yeah, exactly. So it gives you all of the data that you need for you as an author getting paid from there. Takes the stress off of us. So we're looking into this program to do for the next anthology.
Absolutely. Yeah. As a writer, I didn't know that I needed to math. I don't math. So I don't math. I just use words. So I don't like the concept of royalties really stressed. I English, it's okay. Really stressed me out because I was like, oh, I've got to figure out this and that, and I don't want to do any of it, and I don't want to be in control of, as the money's coming in, how do I split it and go out? And am I in charge of this for the rest of my life? That's a big job. I don't want to have to, knowing that there are programs out there that automate this for you. Yeah. It's a lifesaver.
And I think that's another really good reason to have a contract with an anthology. If you're working with another author, it doesn't matter whether it's an anthology, regardless, if you're working with someone else and you're not doing everything yourself, you have to have a contract because it sets the terms and conditions. And I know this is a little side note, but it's related to contracts, so please bear with me here. I was recently having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about how when you are traditionally published, you're signing your book away for life and all this other stuff. And it really brought home to me, and this is one of the things that I think I really hope that I was really clear with when we went over a contract in the group. The term is written in black and white in that contract. So, for example, our contract is one of exclusivity for 6 months. So as of June 10th of 2021, everyone that is in the anthology can release their book outside of the anthology as well and continue on and do with it as you do so choose. And that's really, really important to be aware of when you're looking at contracts, royalties, etc. Because if your contract is for a specific set of time, you know, and you have the rights back to your book, you don't get paid after that term is up and you've got your rights back. You don't get paid for anything other than, unless if you've re-released it. So that's just something to be aware of when it comes to contracts. Everything is in black and white, and it should be. And if you can't understand what's in the contract, invest $100, $200, whatever it is, invest it, take it to a lawyer, have them read it and explain it to you, because that is the best way to understand exactly what you're signing. And it doesn't matter whether it's an anthology, whatever you want to do. If you're dealing with contracts, whoever offers you that contract should have the patience to allow you to take it to a lawyer and read it. If they don't, then burn it and run. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. So in a situation where they only have royalties until they receive their rights back, what then happens to the royalties from that book going forward?
If they have the rights back, then
and then they lose their own personal royalties, and the book is still out there, it's still selling. Where does that profit go? What is it used for?
Okay, I'm clear on this. So basically what you're saying is if after the term of the contract is up and they have pulled their book and they're doing their own thing with it, if they're still making sales, the sales that are attached to that book go to the author because they've released it themselves. In our group, the agreement was after 6 months, they can do with their book whatever, but unless we are making a substantial profit in royalties, any royalties that are made off the anthology, even after those 6 months, is going to stay within the group because it's a group venture to market and promote our work, and we are using it as a way to help everyone in the group promote and market themselves and their book. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. I'm processing. So I hope everybody is okay with me asking questions as we go along. Liana says that she is only hearing static from you. And I did for a while as well. So it almost for a second will sound like a dial-up computer. And then it will just go to like white noise, like a sound. So right now you sound fine to me. But a second ago, when you were not a second ago, before I asked my question, it was very difficult to hear you, which is probably why I asked the clarifying question. But right now you sound. I don't know what it is, and it's not the whole time you speak, but it's consistently when you speak. So I don't know.
I'm wondering. Well, like I said, I don't have my screen on my mic, so I'm wondering if I'm getting feedback through my mic.
It's possible. It sounds like an electronic sound. Carolyn, are you hearing that too?
Yeah, I actually muted myself to make sure it wasn't me. So
okay. Well,
Gremlins.
Sorry, but
that's fine. I have a question, and ladies, please bear with me. Carolyn, when we have our Zoom meetings, do you hear that sound?
Every now and then, yeah.
Okay, so it might be my mic.
And Ciara says that she hears it too at times. Okay.
I apologize. I think my mic is malfunctioning. I will have to. Never mind the screen. I'm just going to reorder. I'm just going to order a new one.
We will bear with you, and we will be patient, and we will love you anyway, because we love you. So, and then I'll just re-upload it with fixed sound.
Okay.
So it does sound like dial-up. Thank you, Ciara. I was pretty sure I was right. It sounded like dial-up.
Which is really weird.
I love computer, and I used to wait. I used to turn it on and go get my lunch and my breakfast or whatever, and I would eat it and be done and come back, and it was still making the coo 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 sound as it was dialing up. And so it cracks me up.
Yeah, I don't know why. I have fiber optic internet. Unfortunately, I mean, it's like brand spanking new. But I also live in a house that's almost 100 years old, so I'm sure that we might be getting some bit of feedback. So I apologize, everyone.
You are totally fine. Ciara says that she does hear it during meetings as well, so it might be an ongoing issue rather than just a right now. But I don't recall it from our past live stream. I'm pretty sure that your sound was fine, and it was just mine that was a nightmare. So just so you know, I'm pretty sure it's been a recurring thing, but recent. So.
Okay. I have a feeling. I have a feeling I know what's going to happen, what I need to do, but that's okay. We'll move on.
Okay, we're focusing. Okay. So contracts and royalties, this stresses me out. But just so you guys know, if you don't have a contract written up, the website just left my mind. Not OfferUp. With the professionals, and you hire the people to do the stuff.
Law Depot has one that you can use. That they have a template that you can use. And there are oftentimes you can actually find samples of publishing contracts online. Just do a Google, and sometimes that will bring that up as well.
And then if you do want to hire somebody, there are those websites with the contract workers where you can
bear with me here. I'm going to just try something here.
You guys, you have to love live streaming because this is only a problem when you're not. Are you back? No, I can't hear you at all. Wow. Oh, this cracks me up, you guys. A ghost from your book is coming to get you. I love it. Nope. I can hear you, but just barely. Can you turn it up?
There we go.
More, a little bit more. Are you there?
I'm there.
It's very, very faint. But you're not making painful sounds anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll take the faint sounds rather than we'll take the faintness. I'm just gonna
try yelling.
We'll just move around so it's like right in front of my
face. There we go. Yeah, do that. Oh, Patricia, I love you. Okay, so let's move on from contracts. I was saying that you could hire somebody, and the website left my mind. There are contract workers that you can hire online. So if you need more technical legal work, you can go onto one of those websites and hire somebody, and they pay either per document, or there are lawyers on there. There's all kinds of people on there. It's great. You either pay per document or per hour, depending on their preference and their specialty. But you can, sorry, reading comments.
You can totally find professionals online. And forgive me, I'm going to leave the glasses on because I have three fur babies running around in this room, and if they knock something loose, I want to be able to see to fix it.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So I started off with my contract. I actually started off with a template, and then I reworked it, and then I took it to a lawyer and had them look at it.
Very interesting. Okay.
So I was able to reduce the cost by using that template and then just filling in what I needed, where I needed it, and then
so you were basically paying for their time to edit it rather than actually write it up in the first place. That's
yes.
Good for you. You're a writer. You can English. It's okay. You got this. You can make legal documents.
Woo! Why not? If I can sign them, I should be able to write them, right?
Carolyn, are you muted?
I unmuted.
Oh, okay. We're getting comments.
Love you, Leanna.
You guys all crack me up. I love this. Okay. So, just for the sake of moving on, let's move on to the next section, which is publishing. I'm having a hard time focusing because I'm still laughing. Okay, so as far as publishing, so we've found our authors. We've jumped through the hoops. We've done the editing. We've signed the contracts for the royalties. We've decided who and what is going into the final anthology. Now, what do we do? What step are we on? How does this work? What do you guys do?
covers and formatting.
Yes. Yes.
You can't just publish a book blank? Okay.
Well, you could, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah. So what does this look, what did this process look for you, like for your anthology and for the other ones that you've participated in?
Well, I have to say our anthology, and Carolyn, correct me if I'm wrong, but our anthology was a little bit different than any other anthology that I've ever been in the process involved with, simply because we did one cover for the anthology, and then we did 6 more covers. So each book has its own cover in the anthology, and that cover goes with that book. So if someone pulls their book after the 6 months, that cover goes, all of the rights with that cover goes with that author, with that story. They can use it at their discretion. Typically, in my experience, when you do an anthology, there is one cover that wraps around the entire anthology, and that's the only cover that's involved. There is no multiples for other people's books, which I think that was half the fun, honestly, with this anthology, because we're all crazy, and doing seven covers, well, editing 6 books.
That's okay, we can do that.
Yeah, why not?
Let's just make this far more complicated than it needs to be. Sure.
Why not? But yeah. And we did everything in-house, so to speak. Like we did our own ads, we did our own promotion, we did all of that. Carolyn is absolutely fantastic. She is absolutely amazing, and she did up some ads for us, and she did some covers. I know she redid her cover, which I love the first one, but the second one, just beautiful. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, because we actually got a chance to sit down with everybody and have a discussion and go, okay, well, what do you think for your cover? What are you thinking? What do you want? And really kind of had a little bit of fun with it. And so yeah, and then Carolyn, in her infinite patience, did all of the formatting for all 6 books within the anthology. So yeah, Carolyn was our formatting and art and cover and guru, and she just was amazing.
They let me go crazy.
Hear from you.
They let me go crazy. Well,
Yeah.
We have 3 cover designers in the group, Patricia, me, and Leanna. And we all have our strengths with different styles. They're amazing. I only had to do mine and Colette's, and I had a blast doing hers. She knew exactly what she wanted, and I made 2 mock-ups, and she's like, I like this. Can you change this? And brilliant. With these ladies, I am cray-cray. I wanted the books to be a little different. So they let me bug them. And I got to do little graphics for their chapter headings, and in some of them, their ornamental breaks. It was fun.
Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. So what did you do then for formatting? Did you, sorry, my brain is just mush for some reason.
I'll tell you easy.
A template?
Vellum. If you don't have a Mac, rent one in the cloud. I think it's like $1 an hour. It'll take you, okay, a lot of formatters will ask for days, because formatters are awesome. I cheat. I use Vellum. It takes me, if I keep it stupid simple, it takes me 10 minutes to format a book. I just got to make sure that everything uploaded right, the chapters are sectioned off, all the scene breaks where they need to be. And then in Vellum, it catches other errors that Google Docs didn't catch, that Pro Writing Aid didn't catch. It highlights it. I'll skim through people's books and I'll message them. So I caught a handful of that errors. Can I fix them? Well, it's
Wow,
awesome.
that's so cool.
Fabulous. I suggest
That's so cool.
fabulous. I suggest save up, buy the lifetime subscription, one-time payment. It is absolutely worth it. By the time you publish your third book and you're going on to your fourth, you've paid for it.
Yeah.
If your books are like novel length, you've paid for it. So that's what I use.
Very interesting. Okay, so you can either pay for a lifetime subscription, did you call it? Or you can do like a monthly. How does Vellum work? I've heard wonders about it, but I don't know how it actually works.
I bought the lifetime subscription, and then I think people who use the cloud, they can get a lifetime subscription of Vellum, the program, but you still have to rent that computer, so to speak. I don't know how it works because I'll be honest, I invested in myself and my husband bought a Mac. You know, because, and then he got me Affinity Photo. I run some huge programs on this sucker. So he invested in me and we got the Mac so I could get Vellum.
Oh, so it only works on Mac.
Yes, but if you have a PC, you can still buy Vellum and use the cloud. So you can rent a Mac, I think $1 an hour.
Very interesting.
Very easy.
Yeah. It pays for itself, especially if you're as skilled with it as Carolyn is. Because, I mean, in an hour, honestly, I think that she could I know she did our book in less than an hour once everything was said and done and we got all the errors and all that stuff. I think the final thing was, you know, so for the renting of the cloud, I think, honestly, it's well worth it. It's very cost effective.
So is that how you went about it, is you rented the cloud, Patricia?
No,
I
use Carolyn.
For the books that you publish?
She has her own business. She does affordable book formatting. So if I have a book that I need to get formatted, I'm not skilled enough in my mind. It's something that I have to learn. So I just go to Carolyn and say, "Can you format this for me?"
Oh, wow. Interesting. And is that one of the links that you gave me that's in the description below? Because I did add your links, Carolyn.
I didn't look at the description below.
You sent me 2 in Messenger. Is that one of the ones you sent me?
Probably.
Okay. If not, then we'll update that and we'll add that for all of you guys that are interested in going through her formatting or having her format your anthology or your book. We'll make sure that's in the links below so that you can have access to that.
Yeah, I highly recommend going through Carolyn. I mean, it's such a stress-free thing, and it doesn't take days, you know. I mean, and it's so but she's my go-to anyways for things. So.
Aww. Gotta love that friendship. That's cute. Okay, so let's move on because somebody brought up marketing, so I added it to our list real fast. What did you guys, for your romantiques, what did you do for marketing? Did you you said that, okay, so yours was unique because you actually had individual books that were then compiled together. So keep in mind, anybody that's watching, that this was different than other anthologies that way. Other anthologies, your story goes into that book. They are all one book. In this case, they were a collection of different books, not a collection of different stories. So they each had their own cover, they each had their own everything, and once it splits, it's done, it's separate, and it's its own thing, and you can market your own thing. So what did you do for marketing for these 6 months, for the release, for whatever you want to talk about? What did you guys choose to do?
Oh my God, I think it's more a case of what didn't we choose to do.
You did say something about over the top.
Well, you know, we're working on book trailers at the moment. We've got a couple that are in the works. And then we also did teaser ads. We've been doing author takeovers on social media. We are currently doing blog tours as well. I've got a couple of blog spots that have come up that I've posted to, gotten into some newsletters. We've had some members that have actually taken information about the anthology itself and taken it offline and into their personal lives and into interactions where they're interacting with people that aren't necessarily online, that haven't seen it before. So we are actually looking at going to be doing author readings here starting Monday right up until Christmas Eve. There are going to be online readings of the first 2 pages in each book. So that's going to be a lot of fun. What else have we done? Oh my God. It's like I said, it's really been a case of what haven't we done?
It's more like Patricia says, we need to do this, this, and this. You got this amount of time, do it. And we're like, okay, we can get it done. We've made a bunch of author ads for all this too. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of work. It's been pushing a lot of us in our skills. We're developing new skills. No thanks, Patricia. No, I mean, thanks, Patricia. And she's our marketing guru. She's taught us, she taught us about Hootsuite. And she said, okay, get on Hootsuite, the free version, link in 3 accounts, and all you do is you post right there. And it'll post on all 3 of those social media sites for you. So she's been guiding us step by step, literally. I'm not kidding. When she says just do this, this, and this, she breaks it down. She makes it easy for us. And then once we start making money from the anthology, we're going to do paid ads. And I know Patricia's been taking courses on different different platforms like Amazon. And I know there's another one coming up in I need to sign up for that today. In January with how do you say her name, Patricia? Is that Alessandra
Alessandra Toro is it's her ink tutorial, I think. That's one I'm going to sign up for as well. I'm going to sign up for that one too. But I'm doing some classes on Instagram as well, and Pinterest. Pinterest is a huge one. I think a lot of people overlook it because they just think it's pretty pictures, but it's actually the 3rd largest search engine in the world.
And it is huge for writers. I don't know if you know this, but bloggers are all over Pinterest. They say Pinterest is only for food and cars, but no, it is for writers.
It is. So I'm learning about this, and then of course as I learn it, then I kind of go to the girls and say, hey, you should get
Leanna just brought up wet noodle. Patricia's like, don't make me get out the wet noodle. We're like, okay.
I really don't want to make you do that. I really don't want to know what that is. So Patricia, would you mind sending me via Messenger or whatever the links for some of those courses that you do so that I can pop them in the description below and let people know the kinds of courses that you've taken that have helped you in marketing your book?
Yes, yeah, I would love to. And the nice thing is everything I have taken up to this point is free. I have not paid for any courses other than my affinity pixelation selection course. Everything else that I've taken is absolutely free, and it's business courses, it's marketing courses, it's accounting, it's budgeting, it's all of that.
All of that is wonderful. All of that, give that to me. I want it.
Awesome. I will send that to you.
Yes.
Because I think that's one of the parts that people authors especially maybe don't realize when you're looking at marketing. Marketing is only a thin slice in the bigger picture. When you're looking at marketing, you're also looking at the rest of the business plan that you need to have in place, because your marketing is fluid. You have to be willing to change and adapt and roll with the times. What works today may not work next month.
That is true.
So
true.
Yes. So it really does really help to be able to have access to resources that will teach you and walk you through and how to improve. And it's different things. Like, I mean, when we sat down and looked at how to put together a marketing plan, how we were going to do this, we sat down and we actually created a spreadsheet so that everybody would be able to go to this spreadsheet, see what needed to be done, what they could do, and we were working within our own strengths and weaknesses too. Because what I'm
really, you're laughing at the comments, aren't you?
Yeah.
Shenanigans! Everybody watch out!
Yes. So
just don't bring up the black truck.
Yeah, no. We go shh, shh. It's an inside joke.
I'm assuming, yes.
Yeah, so what my strengths are not necessarily what Leanna's are or Randy's are. And what Carolyn's strengths are definitely, she's got some really, really big gun strengths there that I know that I just don't have. So having that ability to interplay is really huge. And a big part of marketing too is don't be afraid to ask. If you don't know how to do something or you're not comfortable doing it, do not do it. Get someone else that knows what they're doing to do it for you, that is willing to work with you, because people can tell if you're uncomfortable or it's something that you're not, eager to do in marketing. Like, for example, say public speaking, if once COVID's over and everything, and you do a public reading at, say, the library or something, if you're not comfortable doing that reading, they're going to know. People are going to know. They're going to hear it in your voice. They're going to see it in your body language. Mm-hmm. So, knowing your limits is really good when you're marketing, because you want to build your weaknesses up to make them strengths without actually, driving yourself nuts and crazy and burning yourself out. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of YouTube gurus that recommend to just pick one platform to master and then improve the other ones as you go along. So instead of trying to spread yourself too thin and be on every single platform and be perfect everywhere, master one and then use the other ones to sort of feed into the one that you've mastered. So yeah, one of the gurus said if you chase two rabbits, you get none, or something like that. But anyway,
I don't know. Carolyn, what are you laughing?
Leanna. I'm not saying anything else.
I think, honestly, if you're willing to use the tools that are available to you, like Hootsuite, I love Hootsuite, because I can literally go in there and I can schedule 10 days worth of posts, and then post them, and then over that 10 days, instead of going in and posting on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and so on and so forth, I can go in and interact with my followers. I can go in and interact and answer a question or post a question or say, hey, how are you doing? And allow myself the time that I would normally be spending on posting to do things like Instagram story videos or Facebook videos or, my YouTube channel or my podcast channel, or, just learning something new, and I think that's a huge part of it too, is that you don't necessarily need to be like, posting every day is a requirement, but you don't need to be doing all of the hard thinking every single day. You can schedule some and then use the time that you would normally be using to post as a chance to carry on a conversation and interact. And when you use tools like that, I really think that it actually helps you develop your following and your strengths on other platforms, because you're allowing your because you're allowing yourself the time to do that without stressing yourself out. And And that's the other part of it is with marketing, scheduling your time that you're going to focus on marketing. You can do wonders in 15 minutes a day. If you schedule an afternoon, say a Saturday afternoon, you sit down and go, okay, so from 2 to 4, all I'm doing is social media posts, blog posts, etc. Do those all up every Saturday in that 2-hour space and then schedule them. That gives you that chance throughout the week to interact, and then you're not having to focus on it. You've done all the hard work, the brain work on that in that period, and it trains your brain to really focus during that time on that specific task and frees you up for other stuff during the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I have heard wonderful things about Hootsuite.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left for anybody that's interested. I don't know how many people that are hanging out with us are actually from your anthology group, or how many of them are not. But I would love if you guys have any last minute questions that you can go ahead and throw those into the comments, into the live chat, and let us know, and we can ask these ladies about their experience or their expertise. Yeah, so I guess I'll get started while we're waiting for questions to come in. If anybody's interested in even asking them, I don't know. I'm assuming you know the people in the chat, but I don't know that for sure. I mean, I know you know Leanna because of the inside jokes and the fun stuff. But anyway, I have no way of knowing unless someone is actually typing in the chat who's actually here and who's not. I just have a number on my screen that says we have people. So so my question for you then is, have you guys ever contributed to an anthology where it has been a competition, writing competitions and things like that, and how they might vary from a collective anthology or a big general anthology?
I've submitted to writing contests where the winners would be published. I mean, this was years and years and years ago. And I did get published, but the process was very similar to what we see in groups that are putting together anthologies, where it's a call that goes out. This is the information. Sometimes there is a fee associated. I know I've seen one not that long ago about a writing contest and / anthology, where I think the authors had to pay like $25 per person or $50 per person to enter as an entry fee, and then they were going to use that money for whatever, something to do with the anthology. I didn't ask. I was looking at it, and it wasn't my genre of writing, so I didn't really follow up on it, but I have seen them, and I'm going to assume that they would probably be very similar. It's just, I think money is exchanging, you pay to get into it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that that entry fee either goes towards the winners of the competition, or it goes towards marketing. I had to be here. William, thank you so much for coming. You're so awesome. I know you're trying to put together an anthology right now, so hopefully this was gold information for you. You are awesome. So I did have another question. Oh man, and it just left my mind. Shoot.
Leanna wants to know if you like banana bread.
Me?
Leanna. Banana bread.
Who likes banana bread?
We all like banana bread.
Oh, yes, we do. Did you enjoy your banana bread with your husband in the truck?
Oh, yeah.
Leaving some evidence behind.
Stumbled across another inside joke here. Okay.
William, now you're putting together an anthology, William. So why don't please ask questions. We would love to be able to share our insight and our knowledge with you. It's nice to see when someone is actually looking at putting together an anthology. Now, time-wise, I know that we had a very short window of time when we put together our anthology. Crazy short period of time. Start to finish was 6 weeks.
Wow.
We sat down and
we'd be crazy.
Yeah, you'd be crazy. Holy crap, you'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Holy cow. That was
So
from, like, deciding to do it to published. Like, you wrote it and did all the marketing materials and did the book covers and editing, all of that in 6 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, you're insane.
Yeah.
Undisputed. You're insane.
Oh, I see Leanna has a question. Help advice on how to help others in critique groups like ours.
That's a loaded question.
That's a very loaded question because we're unique. We're just all crazy ladies got together.
I think I have the answer to this. I think that it has to do with community. So if you're trying to create a critique group, or if you're trying to create an anthology where you want a lot of interaction and you want camaraderie, it has to do with the community you set up. And every community lives and breathes differently.
Yes.
So your guys' inside jokes, your guys' group personality is going to be different than a group that I would establish by myself. And it would be different than a group that Patricia and I would establish together.
Yes.
So it has to do with community. And as long as you are encouraging that camaraderie, you're encouraging that communication, you're encouraging kind feedback that's actually hopeful, not bogus, everybody's great, done, and then there's errors, but real constructive feedback where you can just really engage with each other and really work hand in hand, and everybody can be excited about building each other up. That's when you have a fantastic group.
Yeah.
I would like to say you all have to be on the same page. The group was a lot bigger before, and not all the admins were on the same page. We ended up shrinking big time. And I'm so glad we did, because what was left were all of us who wanted the same things. We had the same goals. It wasn't about showing off. It wasn't about, oh, I'm an expert at critiques, I'm going to give you my best. You can learn from me. No, it's like we all want to learn and grow. We all are serious about this. And, you know, everybody has just been amazing. These women are incredible. And it started because Leanna, somebody wanted to start a huge critique group. And I think it was Leanna, what was the group? It was like Beta Readers and Writers or something. Anyway, a few hundred, maybe not even that many, got in group chat together and started. And Leanna's like, well, let's do romance. And someone said, I will absolutely not touch romance. And a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. She goes, I need romance. And I'm like, girl, I'm with you. I want to learn the nuances of romance, because you got different types of romance going on. You got sweet, clean, you got adult, you got all these things, and each of them have different nuances. I want to learn. I can't learn from people who aren't willing to read and critique. So she went off to the side and she started inviting people, and that is how this started. It's about having the same goals and being serious, respecting one another, and coming from the same place. And that's where all these ladies are.
With some of my groups that I'm in, they are both smaller, granted, but it's not necessarily that we all are the same genre, but what we have in common and what we agree about is the craft. And we all want to improve our craft. And so refusing to read something because you just won't have it. Well, I mean, if you choose not to critique that piece, then don't critique that piece. Yeah. But you don't need to be making someone else feel bad or ruining the camaraderie of the group because you don't like that genre. So I run a flash fiction and critique group on Facebook, and it's been wonderful so far because there has been a lot of really good critique, people who are willing to just jump on and critique everybody's work, and it doesn't matter what genre and stuff like that. And so, I mean, you just have to be willing to go outside of your comfort zone, but also, you know, be like, oh, well, I can read sweet romance, but I'm really not into the dark romance, or I'm really not into non-con, or oh, I'm just not the person to critique this. I don't have that expertise, and that's okay. That's different from having an attitude. I think once you have a critique group, your attitude has to be checked at the door. It just does, because everybody's there to learn, everybody's there to participate and to grow. And so it applies to critique groups, it applies to getting together for an anthology, it applies to the editing process for sure. You have to check your ego, and you have to know that we are all humans and we're all imperfect and we're all still learning. The best writers are the ones that are forever growing. And Brandon Sanderson is one of the top New York Times bestsellers year after year after year. And you want to know what he says? He says, every book I write, I have one skill that I'm going to focus on and improve throughout that book. And he does it every time. And so I don't know if he recycles skills because he doesn't feel like he quite got it the first time. I doubt it, because he's, New York Times bestseller. But that's his approach to writing, is improving the craft. And so if we check our egos and we get together, we can all, build each other up. And I love the cattail going across the screen. Anyway, thought God.
He thinks he's the king of the castle. I think that's a huge part of it. Now, in our group, I don't think, honestly, that there isn't a genre that isn't represented, because we all write in different genres. We all write in different styles, different voices. I am learning so much going into this group, and I'm published. I've been published for years, but the thing is, what I'm finding,
this author too. So you've published both traditionally and indie publishing.
Yes, and that's what I'm learning is that I joined the group and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into this because I am tired of the this is great feedback that I've been getting from people that I had, asked to read my work, and I'm like, I want the red ink here, people. I want you to shred this and give me, the feedback. And Carolyn's giggling. But that was what I went into it with. And I think having that open mind really did give me a chance to see that by kind of closing the eyes and just going, well, I've been doing this for years, I know what I'm doing, I was kind of running myself into stagnation, because it was, I got the feeling that everything was the same. There was no change, and with the exposure to all of these different genres that I have been within the group, I'm finding that and I'm sure I'm not the only one in the group, Carolyn, that is kind of outside of our comfort level and kind of pushing ourselves and learning different skills. Like Carolyn and we are learning deep point of view, like really deep point of view. And so that's a whole different writing style. And so, sometimes I think what we found is that everybody in the group is kind of, we're looking at it in that sense, and now we're kind of pushing ourselves and trying, and it's spilling over into how we critique, how we interact with the other girls in the group. And it's coming back at us, because now it's like the expectation is there from everybody. Okay, well, we're going to have our meeting tonight, and we're going to go full bore, and we're going to just go right into this, and we're going to go deep, and we're going to just shred, and this is what. And
it's become the expectation. It's become the norm. Yeah. And I love that you're saying that you're seeing massive impact on your writing, and that you've been able to branch out into different types of stories, not just genres, but even within the style that you typically have written. I'm sure that your story types have varied and things like that, because the influence from these other writers has impacted your writing, which is fantastic.
Huge
so
impact.
William said that he has a couple local people that want to add to his anthology. And then he also said, is it possible to have a nonfiction anthology?
Oh, yes, 100%. The Saskatchewan just actually released I think it was the University of Saskatoon, just released an anthology type book with 27 authors. 27 chapters, 27 different authors. You can totally do an anthology in nonfiction.
So it is one story and 27 different chapters, and they're each written. So each chapter is written by a different author?
No. It's one theme, 27 different mini topics within that theme. So every chapter works together in the sense that it covers the same topic, but it's coming from different points of view. It's different styles, it's different voices. It's completely, each one is cumulative in itself.
So that's interesting, because that's very similar to an anthology that I was considering putting together. I want to have a theme be something like the I don't know if you've ever seen The Event. Have you ever seen The Event on TV? It's got all these different perspectives of one massive event that happened. And so I would love to have an anthology like that, where everybody puts a story in from a different person that experienced that same event at the same time, and how massively different their experiences were. I think that would be so fun.
That would be a lot of fun. So you're not limited just strictly to fiction when it comes to anthologies. I think that's the huge part of it. Is that's the misconception. Now, if you're gonna do like a series or something where it's you're everybody is doing their own thing, that's different. But if you're doing an anthology, same theme, same idea, same premise, and everybody is contributing to that from their style, their voice, their point of view, then totally you can do it. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. And like I said, the University of Saskatoon just put out one earlier this year, and it's I haven't read it, but it's available for free online, and it's 27 different chapters by different authors, different people, and it's nonfiction.
So you're talking about theme, and that does remind me of the question that I forgot earlier, thankfully. As far as theme is concerned, how standard is it to have a theme, and how strict do you think themes usually are with anthologies? Is it a loose theme or a strong theme, or that kind of stuff? And I know you said, Patricia, that you don't love themes, but I mean, you just did the Christmas one, so that's a theme. So it is a theme.
I think for me it wasn't so much the theme that I was with this particular project. I apologize. Simba is just kind of but for me, I think it was the chance to stretch my creative muscles. I don't do short. I do not do short stories. I don't do novellas as a general rule. I am a word hog. For me, my one attempt at doing a short story, I tried to do one last year in 2019 in NaNoWriMo. And I had two projects set up, and one of them was a 25K piece that was going to be published under my pen name, Elise Wiles. The girls I'm waiting for the girls to kind of look away before I upload it, because it went from 25K, it's now 104K, and I've been working on it, trying to edit it down. And
that's a bit different.
Challenge with the word count.
Longer, better.
But I think theme-wise, if it's something that you're passionate about, or it's something that you strikes you as something that would be fun or interesting, it's a really good, you give it a shot, right? Having said that, I don't necessarily know that I would want to do a theme project every month or every time, but once in a while, it's a challenge for me, or you challenge yourself, step outside of your comfort level, outside of that comfort zone, and just challenge yourself. And I think that's a big part of it. As Carolyn.
So much.
Themes all the way, man. Every anthology I've talked about entering or tried to take part of, there's always a theme. It doesn't matter how big or small. The fantasy group, I'm horrible with names. I'm in like 5 of them. But that's my favorite one with Laura and a bunch of others. They had a fairy tale retelling. I love the theme. So I looked up 2 long forgotten fairy tales, and I did a mashup.
Oh, that's fun.
So you can, it's whatever you want. A lot of people, I think 3 people, maybe 2 people. I need to go through and read the book. I haven't read all the stories yet, did like a Snow White retelling. Someone did a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Someone did one where they gender swapped. It was really fun.
That's fun.
There are just so many amazing stories. So what they do is in all the ones that I've considered or submitted to, it was just a theme, just broad. You can, as long as your story fits the theme in, you're good to go. So it wasn't like, oh, well, it has to be in present day and it has to be blah, blah, blah. It could be any time period. It could be on another planet.
Oh, that's so fun. You guys are making me want to do an anthology. Stop it.
You should.
I do really want to do it, actually. I would actually, so I mentioned that I'm creating a beginner writing course.
Yeah.
And I would actually love to host a competition at the end of it and allow the people who go through the course to put into the competition, as well as, broadcasting it. And then doing an anthology, a flash fiction anthology that's coming out of my flash fiction creative writing course. Yep. So I would really love to do something on the tail end of that. We'll see, though. That is something I'm really interested in, but
you should.
I don't know. I haven't talked myself into it quite yet, but I haven't talked myself out of it either. So
well, there you go.
William, I would totally read that anthology. If y'all did that, I would totally read that anthology. I like seeing the different perspectives and seeing what happened. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree.
One that I want to do is flash fiction stories and poems that have to do with 2020, just with the year 2020.
Yes.
And I want to highlight the struggles and the hope going out of 2020. So the hope for a country divided or whatever theme I choose within that, but 2020 essentially, and the struggles we all went through. So
I think William has an amazing idea.
Oh, yes. We just passed the 35-year anniversary of the flood that basically destroyed most of our state. We are considering stories about that. That sounds fantastic. Will you please tell me which flood you are which state you're referring to? Because I don't know where you are in the world.
That would be something that I would read. I know for a fact that would just be so interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, William, let us know which part of the states you're in. I'm assuming you're in the United States. But yeah, let us know because I am very interested in that. That's really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think nonfiction might be harder for an anthology than fiction simply because you have to do so much research. And I think that would be for me, that would be the kicker because I research on the go. I like my history. So I think that would be absolutely so much fun to do. Well, there's an idea, Carolyn. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that for the next or one of the anthologies that we've got coming up in the group.
Well, I just to go kind of along, what William's talking about, I think stuff like that is cool because it's part of history. Like with what happened with 9/11, I'm still finding and reading stories of people's experiences. So I like seeing all the different point of views. And like my kids are like, they're clueless about 9/11 because, before they were born. And there's so many things that by reading those personal experiences and those individuals' knowledge from their standpoint, you're going to learn more than any history book can teach you.
Yeah.
So I find so much value. Yeah. If he were to put an anthology like that, I would learn a ton and I would love it. I'd probably cry a lot, but it means a lot to me. So I think more people should do things like that. And yes, Patricia, we can do stuff like that. You brought something up like that recently too, I think.
Yeah, and William did say that he is in West Virginia, so he did answer my question. That's very interesting, William. I do think that there is an audience for that. I really do. Yeah. So, if it's something you love and if it's something that you have people already willing to put in for, do it. Go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just when you're doing it, just have fun with it and allow yourselves the time to actually go through and really focus on it and the individual stories. And I think, let us know, William, let us know when you've put it together, because I know for a fact I want a copy. I want a copy.
That's so awesome. Yeah, William, shout it out in our different writing groups that you and I are in together. And I will make sure that that these wonderful ladies hear about your anthology when it's put together. So.
Awesome.
Thank you both so much for joining me. I think that we should wrap this up. It's been an hour and a half, and I think that's good timing. But I have loved this so much. I love the camaraderie in your group. I love how well thought out you guys were about this anthology. I love that it was methodical. It wasn't just well, let's just, I mean, it was fast, yes, granted, but it was well thought out. You had the documents, the legal documents. You had a group that you knew, that you trusted, that you could all come together on, and you really worked through this in a methodical way. And
Yes.
you were careful with the marketing, everything. You thought through that these are actually individual books that are just sort of packaged as one for a while. That's fantastic. It's unique. And you thought through what that looks like with royalties and what that looks like on the other end of royalties. And it's really fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for enriching my audience with this. I love you both. And everybody that is on the chat, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hang out with me, because I'm going to keep bringing you the best writing advice across YouTube. And I love you all, and welcome to my channel.
Thank you for having us. It was great
Thank you.
Thank you.